Now, recently we've seen The Jungle Book come out, the live action adaptation. They've done Alice in Wonderland. They will be having Beauty and the Beast come out. I want to say sometime next year. Live action adaptation of Disney
Stockholm Syndrome.
for Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Of course, movie about Stockholm syndrome. Still a great movie.
Yeah.
So these are just Disney animated films, and I want to say they started doing this with Alice in Wonderland. And I said then and there, I'm like, they're gonna, if this is successful, they're going to do this with more of Disney's animated films, just because we have the technology to make them and not have it be super super expensive. A lot of green screen and digital effects going into them. So we've had a few more of the along that line of live action Disney films be announced, and those include The Lion King, which is going to be directed by Jon Favreau, who directed The Jungle Book, which I haven't seen. Did you see that?
No.
Okay. He also was the director of the first two Iron Man films, and he was in them too. He played Happy.
Really?
Yeah, that's Jon Favreau.
Yeah, I remember that.
So he'll be directing Lion King, and then there's also going to be a Mulan.
I'm actually kind of excited about that.
Yeah, my wife is too, because that's like one of her favorites. My favorite is Aladdin.
I like the music in Aladdin.
Aladdin is hands down my favorite animated Disney film. I mean, you can't beat the Robin Williams genie. You just can't. Like, as a kid, he's everything that you love about cartoons wrapped up in a single character. Like, that's the best way I can say to describe him. So, they are going to be, I think, Guy Ritchie is in talks to direct Aladdin, and he directed both of the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. in them. And he's done a couple other things. He directed Snatch and Revolver. I'm not familiar with those movies. Apparently, he's directed King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, which is set to come out in March. I think I've seen a trailer for that. That looks okay. But Aladdin is not only is it special to me because I'm a big fan of the original movie. What I wanted to talk about with this was, given the current political situation involving the Middle East and refugees in Syria and all of that, I kind of feel like they're going to ruin it by trying to be politically correct and not offensive. Because, I mean, there are some stereotypes in the original Aladdin that let's face it, they wouldn't make the animated version today as it is now.
Yeah.
That would not be made in this current climate.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the live action is going to turn out. I really don't. I mean, now granted, Alice in Wonderland is nothing. Well, Alice in Wonderland #1 is not even, it's not a remake or a live action adaptation. It's a sequel of sorts.
Yeah.
Haven't seen The Jungle Book, so I can't really say anything about that. I imagine that is a straight up live action adaptation. Beauty and the Beast is going to be a live action adaptation. Same thing with Lion King and Mulan. Lion King I'm also looking forward to, because like Lion King is a close second for me. And that movie I think won't have any problems. I think Aladdin will, just because it takes place in what looks to be, Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, that kind of a setting. And just with the current climate, I don't know. I have a feeling like they're going to make some changes that are just going to be weird and, for lack of a better term, awkward. And I hope it doesn't. Like, I really want this to be done well. But it's Disney. Disney is I'm not going to beat around the bush here. Disney is a liberal company. and they can be very PC at times. And I'm just hoping that they don't let that get in the way of making what could be an excellent movie with this. But yeah, what were you? Did you have any concerns regarding that?
I mean, the potential's there. I understand what you're saying, like what you mean is like. I can think of a few things I think that could be taken badly nowadays, but
From the original.
yeah, but to people who would be offended by that, I would say it's a kids movie. Get over yourself. They're not trying to be offensive in that way.
Well, it's also based on, what is it, 1,000 nights or 1,000 stories, or what's the? I mean, the tale of Aladdin comes from basically like a book of tales from the Islamic world.
Yeah.
So, like Arabian Nights or something like that, or 1,000 Arabian Nights. So I don't think they strayed too far from it. I mean, of course, the genie is a complete Disney construction. Like, he's not, he doesn't represent a jinn or anything like that from
Which is
folklore.
good because, jinn are not the most.
They can be pretty bad.
They're
They're
much-
basically demons.
Yeah. Which would have made that movie a lot darker.
Yeah. And they're definitely not going to go that route.
Although that would shoot, what's his name? Jafar?
Mm-hmm.
That's the priest dude, right?
Yeah, he's the villain.
His character when he becomes a genie, it's a pretty good definition of a genie.
Yeah. Traditional.
Super evil with ultimate power.
They're not good. They're not whimsical like the blue genie, like Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Well, and that moves on to another concern of mine. What are you going to do with the genie? Who are you going to cast to play genie?
I have a feeling it's going to be CGI, so we might be looking at a voice actor.
I mean, yes, but are you just going to get anyone to replace Robin Williams? I mean, there's a lot of people out there that can do pretty good impersonations, but it is Robin Williams the Great.
That kind of had like a slight Elvis feel to me. Not bad. I don't think you're going to get a part as a Robin Williams impersonator.
Well, if I want to just sound like Elvis. No, I'm not in an Elvis mindset. Never mind.
There you go. I mean, I definitely see Genie being CGI.
Well, CGI, yeah, but I mean, do you think that they'll go the route of an impersonator of Robin Williams, or will they just completely build him from scratch as far as the voice goes?
As far as voice goes, I think they're going to build from scratch, but I think they're going to try and give him the same personality, which might not work. Just because Robin Williams really stapled
defined that role. That would be like trying to have Jack Sparrow without Johnny Depp.
Very hard to do.
That would be
virtually impossible.
I mean, that'd be like Iron Man without Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Like, no one, there's just certain actors that just seem to be born to play certain roles. And for Robin Williams, that definitely was one of those roles. But yeah, it's gonna be hard to replace him. It's gonna be hard to navigate all the stupid, things that we're going through in the world today that weren't a problem back in 1992.
Yeah.
So it is Disney. They usually do good. So fingers crossed.